Good morning. It is Sunday, the 1st of June. It's already June. Does it seem like this year's going by fast or slow?
We had May showers all month, so
I heard it rained a lot back in Ohio, but it's all done with now?
well, for the first time in the 8 years I've lived in this house, there was actually high water across my road. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. It went down really quick, but still.
Good stuff. The girls are driving back to Ohio this weekend. So maybe good thing you got all the showers out of the way. It is, like I said, it was June. It's the 1st. It's Sunday. It's 7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. East Coast, and you're right in the middle, Kiara?
9 over here.
Okay. It's plot points today. We're going to talk about the last couple weeks that was, what we've been into, what we've been liking, what we've been enjoying. We're going to talk the Traveling Cat Chronicles, and we're going to talk, is that mixed berry diet or which one's that? I'm a mixed berry diet dude.
It's the, I didn't know
diet citrus.
This is just it's the straight up citrus green tea.
Oh man, they're actually both really good. Traveling Cat Chronicles, what we've been doing, what we liked, what we disliked, and if there's time, a little bit of part 3 of Pen Pals titled Boxes. To begin with, Allery, you're on top, or Allery. Allery's not here. Brian's not here. Brian, you're gonna show up in the comments. I know you are.
I texted him.
Oh, did you? Okay.
He said nothing.
It's an hour offset.
Makes
Totally
sense.
understanding.
Can I just get something off my brain real quick?
Yeah.
Send it.
Today is Sunday, and Chris, we graduated together, and I know that today is the graduation party of 2 of our really good friends who had the first child of our class, and little Gracers is having her graduation party today. So
we're talking Chaz and Anna. Okay. Yes. Very nice.
Their oldest has graduated, and if that doesn't make us feel old, I don't know what does.
No, I believe that. And then I kind of, maybe it was a couple weeks ago when Trimble our high school did their graduations. So was it weird? Kiara, did you graduate on a weekend? Did you graduate on a Sunday from high school? They always graduate on Sunday.
It was a weekend.
Where Laura and I graduate from.
Yeah, it was a weekend. I don't know if it was Sunday or Saturday. I know college was a Saturday.
Right.
High school, I can't remember. I think Sunday.
My undergrad was a Saturday, but grad school was a Friday. I got lucky on that one.
Whoa.
I did not walk for grad school.
I didn't walk for undergrad. I only walked for grad school because I love my grandma.
Yeah.
But Kiara, Laura is probably got, Laura and I, we graduated high school with 40 people.
Yeah, we did graduate high school, Chris.
We graduated high school with 40 people.
That's a small class.
We learned how to read.
I think mine was 315, 317, something like that.
So I was going to ask you, you probably graduated with a quite larger number, but at the same time, you graduated from West Point. So that graduation was a lot different.
Yeah, college.
Sorry, how did I know
college?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever told you, huh?
I didn't know you were like that.
Your internet sleuthing must have halted before you got to college.
I've never sleuthed you on the internet.
You haven't creeped, girl.
I've creeped your Instagram because I like to look at you, but I haven't looked up the records.
Yeah, you got to creep. But no, the undergrad, that's the one that was on a Saturday though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I graduated from that place in New York. You know what I'm saying?
I need to know so much more about you.
Yeah.
Well,
we got time. We got a camping trip in September, right?
We're
not gonna acknowledge the whistles in the Appalachia, or however we say that, because I'm not from there and I'm ignorant.
Well, it depends on what region, but I go with Appalachia.
Okay, but if we heard a noise, no, we didn't, and stay in the tent. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Yes.
Laura, the last 2 weeks, what have you been up to? What have you watched? What have you read? What have you consumed that you enjoyed, didn't enjoy? What's new?
So I've been deep into Apple TV shows. I've been watching Your Friends and Neighbors. Not the greatest, love it.
Okay.
It's some rich dude loses his job and then starts stealing from his rich neighbors, and it's a good one.
Okay.
And then I've also watched Murderbot with Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay, I did see previews for that one.
Yeah, well, it's way better than I thought it would be. And now I'm like locked in for the episodes that come out every Friday. Like,
Very nice.
I'm actually like watching a weekly show again.
Hell yeah.
Other than
Appointment
that,
TV.
I've been reading the shit out of The Plated Prisoner. Needed a little palate cleanser, so I picked up another hockey smut book.
Hell yeah! Like, what's the big one?
High reward.
What's the big one? Like Icebreakers. That's like the pinnacle hockey.
Yeah, so
one, right?
it's the second in the Icebreakers series. Is the one I picked up.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, it's like
I was just talking to my friend yesterday about how hockey players is like they're the most clothed athletes that are still sexy while doing the sport. You can't tell what shape their body is, but it's still great to watch.
And I know they don't have teeth, but take me to the boy aquarium any day.
The boy aquarium.
I have never heard that statement, and I can only assume with context clues what we're talking about.
I have about 6 hockey jerseys for my once a year New Year's Eve Blue Jackets trip. Do I watch hockey any other time? Do I show up at that little fucking boy aquarium and get so wild? Yes, I do.
Yes, so it's Magic Mike for the like-minded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
it hits different.
I don't need to see your beer gut. I'm already in, buddy. Punch that in the face.
That is funny though. I've never heard boy aquarium. That's probably gonna be the highlight of my day. Kiara, last 2 weeks, what's up with you?
Last 2 weeks, Ryan
texted me and said, "Who's this?" So he doesn't actually know.
Oh no!
Humbling.
Oh no! Last 2 weeks, I read the Traveling Cat Chronicles, which I know we're going to touch on. I also was told to revisit Verity, so I did that. And I still think Colleen Hoover's not for me, but I mean, it was a less than 4-star read, so nothing to rave about really. But I mean, I went back. It was a short enough read that I could commit the few hours to making my friends happy and reading it. Oh, hi, Brian. And then I'm currently reading The Will of the Many. So she a thickum, but she should be done today. More to follow on that for sure. But other than that, kind of just reading. I haven't really been watching too much of anything. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Brian, putting you on the spot, dude. Last 2 weeks, what you been watching, what you been reading, what you been consuming? What's new with you, man?
Dude, WNBA season.
Yeah.
I did. I gotta show you this.
Go ahead.
If I can find it.
On pins and needles. Oh, wow. Is that Unsolved Mysteries?
That is Unsolved Mysteries. And I've been going down deep. I've been going down the deep hole.
It's funny you bring that up because I'm sure you've watched the revitalization on Netflix of Unsolved Mysteries, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I still want to know why this is working at Burger King.
Yeah, I got you there. I remember my wife and I were talking, and we put on the new Netflix Unsolved Mysteries a couple months ago, and we were watching them, and it's got that same Patrick. Very nice. It's still got that kind of same, almost the same intro, but like a little spookier, a little creepier for modern day on it. And I would tell my wife, I said, back during like network television days in their peak, I was like, hey, Sunday or Saturdays on Fox, it would always be like Cops, America's Most Wanted, and Unsolved Mysteries. And my mom was raising my sister and I, a single mom, and she's like, I tell you what, Chris, like I would be scared like on Saturday nights because like the intro, Robert Stack would be spooky in that alleyway, and that intro would kind of creep up on you. And it's like,
like even hearing that like piano intro just gives me man.
So another one that used to set me off like that was the old Tales from the Dark Side.
I was going to say Tales from the Crypt used to scare me as a kid. That creep up to the mansion.
Tales from the Crypt was like a little.
I forgot about that entirely.
Like you knew once you heard that little jingle that like we're gonna have this is gonna be a good hour, or I think it's like that every episode is like 45 minutes,
right?
Of TV, right? And I really I always liked that very intro where it takes you down the steps into the crypt. I just thought that was a very cool choice for them to use that. Later, I haven't seen any other show or anything that's even like horror related like that do something like that.
I remember I was a kid and I had a TV in my room, and every now and then we get one of those HBO free weekends. That was like the first time as a kid I knew that like I liked to be scared, because like I'd be blanketing the thing. I knew the Crypt Keeper was going to jump out of my ass, but I'd be like, just like creeping up to the house and down to the little labyrinth. Yeah, it used to spook me good. No, but the new one, the new intro to Unsolved Mysteries, they have like that silhouette of Robert Stack, but like he's like a skeleton, and it kind of freaks me the fuck out. I'm like, why would they do that? I'm like respect that man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you just got to pay homage somehow, I guess.
For me, I have been very busy with schoolwork. I leave the country next week. So I'm doing a lot of running around. Yeah, I'm doing an awful lot of running around, and my wife and I talked about it 2 weeks ago. The Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I read the first one, really loved it. I was dual reading the second book, and I was between reading a chapter or two at night and then listening to what I could in the truck or at the gym. And I told my wife we were making dinner last Saturday, and I was like, hey, I've got like 10 more minutes in this book. I'm just going to put it on while I help you. And she's like, sure. She got into it. So lo and behold, our new Barnes & Noble opened on Wednesday, and we went and I bought the next 4 books, and she's already she's on the 4th one now. She's already lapped me by like a book and a half, and she's loving them and absolutely consuming them. And TV wise, I haven't really watched anything of note. I went ahead and caught up last night with The Last of Us, so I am through this the second season. I watched that last night.
Oh my god,
I haven't caught up yet.
Yeah. What was that, Brian?
I said I watched it, and man, oh man.
Oh no.
Am
I ready?
I was not a fan of the second game.
If you were have you watched it, Kiara?
I am not caught up. I think I have 2 episodes left.
I haven't watched any of the new season.
I'm gonna. Then I will stay quiet until you guys.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I mean,
this one.
be gentle. but you can definitely have an opinion.
Well, all right. So my opinion is this: is that the in this particular season, she's supposed to be a broken woman, right? And it does not come across that way, and then it does not get translated, right? I mean,
I can see that.
you just see the death of somebody that she
Oh my God, episode 2 killed me.
right, and so but you then not be just this playful, jovial person, right? Like like the attitudes, you still carry this attitude, and if you look at the second game, she is not like that in the second game at all. She is a broken person with a singular focus on absolute revenge.
Yeah. Do you think
Right.
that has something to do with the time hopping that happens as well, though? Because like between the second and the third episodes, and I think again between the third and the fourth, if I'm remembering correctly, like there's a significant amount of time that passes.
Well,
So like you think maybe they're just not showing a lot of they didn't spend enough time on what paints her that way instead of I'm gonna be a dad.
well, the thing is like they took an actor that does not have the range, right? And then the second piece of it is you're correct. The spacing of time, um, without shooting in
The
time,
grieving process. Yeah,
or
absolutely.
doing or shooting a season and then holding it right as Netflix would like to do, right? And then putting it out there at the same time that you shoot the latest season, right? So that the times match up when you actually shove the stuff out into the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think would have been the smarter choice, but I also think it's an acting it's an acting thing to me as well. And I don't necessarily put it on the actor as I do that's a directorship, and that's a production thing, right? Realizing that this person and conveying what these feelings need or should be. I mean, don't get me wrong. Actors have the liberty, or most actors have the liberty to take on the character as they would and interpret it in such a way. But like the story is the way that the story lays out is so clear how this person is supposed to feel, right?
Yeah.
And it does not come across like that at all.
I think it's also like you get caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Because I do think Bella was the right choice for season 1. And I can see like where you're talking about like there's some like developmental issues for like season 2, but they didn't know in season like for her being right for season 1, they didn't know she wasn't going to be right for season 2. And at that point, you're locked in, right? So that range and that development has to happen in real time. And there's only so much time to
I
make
don't
it
even,
happen.
and I do agree with your point. I also feel that I guess my mainstay is that I didn't even feel that she was right for season 1.
You didn't? Oh, I
No,
see. I liked her for season 1.
I don't honestly, and again, I have nothing against this actor. I think
Yeah.
she has a way about her that is very she has a very subtle way about her, which is something that is I only find in every so often actors, right? She has a way to make things very like because there's a lot of they're out in nature, they're um the way she interacts with people, she has there's just like this underlying subtleness. and you can tell it's not something that was written into the script, and it was not something that was told to her by direction. It's just something innate within her, which is a further talent that she'll be able to exploit. I don't even know if she understands that she has this talent, but I could definitely see her in other things and shine in other areas where a lot of other actors fail, right? But for this particular role, it's just like I don't know, it's like oil and water for me, which is and again, just my opinion, but I definitely don't feel like for season 2 she definitely was the right person for the role.
Yeah.
Of the amount of emotion that this person and the burden that this person carries, like she just has way too much. What is she supposed to be, like 14 or
Now she's like 19.
19, right?
They
Exactly.
all the birthdays.
Yeah, and she just has, like, I mean, it's almost like an 8-year-old, right? Like she has those types of emotions.
No, I can definitely see that. I think just to not spend 30 minutes on the Last of Us, but I will say I was a huge fan of the first game, and because again she's got these weird mannerisms about her, and social interactions are different because she is a young girl that was born into this world, and this world is all she knows. She doesn't understand. She wasn't properly schooled, and human interactions are different. But I thought she was great for the first season, and I would say with the first season there were so many of these other little stories that shined. I mean, Nick Offerman and Marty Bennett's episode of the two lovers, that was one of the best episodes of TV I've watched in a long time. But the second season, she's, like you said, Brian, in the game, she's out for vengeance. It's scorched earth on sight, and she has to have that, fuck everyone mentality. And it's hard because she's still, again, she's 19. She's coming into her own and figuring out who she is as a person and her love interests. And there's a lot to fumble with that, but it's a change from the game. And you're like, I don't know if she's got this, brutality or, that this role is asking for in the second season. But at the same time, I enjoyed the second game for what it was. I thought there was not an awful lot of inclusion that was in this game that was desperately needed, and a lot of people from different communities really radiated to it. But me, as someone who enjoys the plot on everything, it always just fell short because I played the game, and you play the game and it's literally you're playing 20 to 30 hours as Ellie, and you play her whole story out until you get to like 30 hours of the game, and then you jump back to the beginning and you play the whole story out as Abby. And I'm like, holy shit, this has now become a chore. And and it was the only time, like, I mean, I need to like this game, but it's grueling to just keep playing. I'm like, okay, I already know what happens here, but here's the other perspective. And it's trying to convey the message like, hey, yeah, you think these people have it bad? Well, guess what? Everybody fucking has it bad in this world. And like, yeah, I get that. But me, I'm a person that, like, why not play the second game and or the second season for that fact? Like, you get the first season, you get Joel, who has a daughter that doesn't get to grow up and is taken from him. Why not play the second game and or second season of, hey, what I did was wrong. Let's, I don't know. There's a reason I'm not writing the games, but like find some way for them to, yes, okay, let's Joel, you need to pay for your sins, right your wrongs, and say there's somebody else that can, manufacture this cure from Ellie. Make this story about Joel, who lost a daughter in the first game, but make this one where he has to take the journey for his new daughter to go and die and give her up. Like, why not try something like that? But this season, I know what the ending is, and I'm just like, there's nothing noteworthy about it for me in this third season. I assume this whole third season is going to be Abby. And it's just like, I need some more meat on the bones for this one. I need more things that are going to make me feel, because you can only make me feel, because I've already seen so much terrible shit in this world. We've seen dead children and families ripped apart and complete total destruction, and that's all there is. So I don't know. I'm torn, but as the video game, and I watch anything HBO will put out usually, but I don't know. It's not hitting for me. I do think Bella Ramsey, she's kind of all over the place in this season, and sometimes it's cute, sometimes it's like, did she just really just say that? So, but that's the last I'll get of the Last of Us. Anything else before we move on to our book of the month? All right. Moving on. The Traveling Cat Chronicles. Laura's choice for the month. Laura, we're going to go ahead and let you just take off and run with it. You go right ahead and start it off.
Oh, something's going on with your audio.
You were very, very quiet.
My favorite thing was this text I got from Kiara earlier this week that was like, I shouldn't trust you when you say words like cozy and adorable. And I was like, no, you absolutely shouldn't.
No, because you said the same thing for Flo, and I had a full-blown existential crisis watching that movie. And then she's like, oh, this is a cozy little cat read. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
take me through the ringer.
Cozy, because it is emotionally devastating. Like, this book was so short and so sweet. And I mean, so like the premise is a guy gets a stray cat and they have 5 very, very happy years of just like soulmate animal and human. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he can't keep the cat. So he travels around trying to find him a perfect home. And it's just so sweet of like this dude reminiscing with like old friends, reliving his life. Turns out he's dying. And the cat is so sassy and I love it. Like, I mean, it's a quick read. It's very short. And there's just so much emotional devastation packed into like hours of reading. And I love it. And like, look at the little cover art. It's like so cute.
That cover art also deceived me. I've been deceived by you. I've been deceived by the drawings, everything.
Yeah, I see.
It's like, oh, he's trying to find him a home, but really he's trying to find him somewhere so he can go and die. Right. And then in the whole journey, he's like, oh, but really he doesn't belong anywhere but with me until the end. And the cat also agrees. And then death and more death. And then afterlife. And then it reminded me of that meme on like Instagram that's like, it's not a meme, but like one of those like videos or whatever that's like, I'm gonna go to heaven with a leash and a ball or something because there's someone waiting for me, but it's like the opposite because the human's waiting for the cat and the cat's also talking about dying at the end. I lost my shit. I lost all of it. Everything was gone. I'm unwell. I was unwell for several hours after reading this book. I'm too sensitive for Laura's recommendations, but I loved it anyway. I still loved everything.
Kiara texted me and said, I'm sobbing.
Sobbing.
I was like, you're welcome.
A puddle. I was a mess. Yeah. But I cried at dog commercials.
you could send her an order of DoorDash and a thank you and just call it a day.
Oh, geez.
No, for summary and context, the story itself centers around
after we spoil it in its entirety.
So. Yeah, absolutely.
Spoils with this one. I usually try not to, but
I ruined it.
No, the story
They ruined us.
centers around Nana. She's a kind of a streetwise cat who gets hit by a car, and she's rescued by a kind man.
It's a boy. Did you even read?
What did I say?
Her, she.
Oh, okay. He is a streetwise cat, and he gets rescued after he gets hit by this car. He gets rescued by Sataru, and he adopts Nana, naming him after like the shape of his tail. Right? Is that what they conveyed? Yeah, it was like the shape of his tail. They live happily together for 5 years. They form like a really deep and unspoken bond. One day, he begins on this road trip in his silver van, and they're visiting friends. Along the way, he visits Kasuke, which is like his childhood friend, who is recently divorced and living with his dad. He considers leaving Nana with him, but ultimately he realizes he's not emotionally ready at the time. He then visits Yoshime or Yoshimine. I would say Yoshime, I think is what it was. A rebellious high school friend who's transitioned to being a monk, and he realizes, hey, not ready for this cat either. And then they visit
I hate my friends,
Sugi.
the monks.
Really? You had that pop up a lot, did you?
Yeah, I mean, this, it's just life problem.
Every time I get on the internet, yeah. Then the last two are Sugi and Chikako. They're friends of his from college, and they now run, like, I assume it's to think of like a pet friendly inn. Would you call it that? Like that's what they kind of run. And they offer to take him as well, but the dog and the cat don't get along at all. And each stop, it reconnects him to these people from his past, and you start learning a little bit more about his backstory. And his backstory is like he was an orphaned young when his parents died in an accident. He was raised by his kind aunt. He once had a cat who he had to give up in high school due to like their living situation. So it's kind of like that rekindling or reclaiming something that was once lost as well. And but you come to find during all of it that Sataru is very, very kind and a reserved person who doesn't want to be a burden to anyone or anything as well. But of course, like we've said already, eventually the truth emerges, and you find out that he is terminally ill with cancer, and he only has a short time to live. And this road trip itself was an effort to find a loving home for Nana before he dies. Yeah, I thought this was going to be a cute, cozy read as well, Laura.
It's like the greatest story of unconditional love, though. Like,
I would agree.
That's this human just like pouring his whole soul into making sure that like this cat, this little baby stray that like just came into his life, has the best life possible. Like, how is that not cozy?
It's the Asian book equivalent of the way I felt watching Homeward Bound. Look, I'm telling you right now. It just
But Shadow came back. Okay, he made it.
That makes this worse because because they died. Or better because they met in the afterlife. I mean, I don't know. I guess it all depends on how you feel.
I mean, I read this and all I thought about was like the first one that really fucked me up as a kid, and it was My Dog Skip. Tore me to pieces.
The internet glitches every time you start to yell at me, Kiara.
I'm sorry. It's on purpose.
My internet's like,
It's okay. It's the intervening. I'm wrong, and it's shielding you from my negative energy.
No, it's just that you have too big of a heart.
I'm a sensitive pansy. It's fine. I identify and I'm okay with it.
The book reminds me of the movie Solaris with George Clooney.
Mm.
And I
That's
mean,
it.
yes, it doesn't have anything to do with animals or anything like that, but I mean, it is the movie in its subtext is very about unconditional love, right? I mean, that's the whole reason he ends up,
Right.
on the ship. He ends up near the planet. You know what I mean? Why he continually sees his wife, right? Um, and why all the people on there see, you know, the one lady sees her, her dead child. Um, I forget what the other guy sees all the time, um, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to pick this up and check it out.
Even
Yeah.
after all the spoilers, Brian?
Well, I mean, the thing is like I'm not a person that feels like when someone tells me something that it's spoiled, because I mean, watching a movie or reading a book, um, I would say reading a book, because you have to put your imagination to it. Everybody's going to imagine something different, right? A movie is more structured where they're already presenting individuals, so it's really just interpretation what I'm taking from it. But so it's a little bit harder, I guess, with shows. But with books, I mean, you could talk about all books; it doesn't matter.
That's
I'll
fair.
I'll
That's a
still
good
read
way
them
to look at it too.
and
Mhm.
and imagine and get a different interpretation out of it. And it's in most of the time that I could pick up a book 4 months ago and look at it one way and read it 8 months later and get a totally different interpretation. I'd be like, wow, I can't believe I never thought about it this way. Um,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but for the ending, I did write this, hey, Satoru dies in the hospital quietly and peacefully, and Nana is not there, but it is clear that he feels the loss deeply. However, the book avoids overly dramatic displays of grief. It's very understood and reflective. In the final two chapters, Nana, you know, philosophizes about life and death from his cat's eye view, and he vows to live on and remember Satoru and continue being the cat that Satoru loved. Proud, loyal, and free. And it was, like I said, it wasn't like overly just hit you in the head like here come the waterworks, but it's underlying in everything towards the end there, and I thought it was good. I didn't think it was the cozy read that I was prepped for, and like I said, I go back to when I was a kid, and my dog Skip fucked me up beyond all repair, and you see the dog just go back and lay on the little boy's bed and die, but
Oh,
we didn't get anything of that level, but still, it's just seeing that kind-heartedness and that duty and responsibility of him, taking up this hurt animal, bring him back to health, and making sure he does right with the time that he has left. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
I
now
think
you know what keeps me warm at night.
Say it again.
So now you know what keeps me warm at night.
I hear
Kind
you.
of fucked up shit, I think, is cozy.
But while you were talking, Chris, I was like, how much of that is like cultural? Because immediately I went to like Shogun and the way that they kind of viewed life, death, and duty and honor and those kinds of things. Then I think like
Yeah.
this is an Asian written novel, and kind of that death isn't something that's devastating in its outright sense, but is still very poignant in a way,
No,
like an
absolutely.
underlying kind of way. Yeah.
No, good point.
Yeah.
What I took from Shogun from the particular series on that particular piece is that everybody plays a role. Death is part of the role, but you don't forget that someone played, right?
Mm.
You have a deep appreciation that someone played that role You always pay your respect to that role, and then but it doesn't stop the Sakura, blooming the next season, right? So
Dig that. I like that. I give it at its base core. A man finds a cat. They go on a trip, and you get the backstory. You get this, what has molded me as a man. You get this story about the cat and him wanting to, do right with the time he's got left, with the things that he's still responsible. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. It was a nice little quick read. It was quick for me. I don't know about everybody else. It was a nice little quick read, and it made me feel, which is hard nowadays. And I enjoyed it. Good choice. I give it a 4.5, Laura. Nobody else.
I agree. 4.5. Solid.
Okay.
I think I gave it a 4, but I think
Okay.
I gave it a 4 before I got to the part where I cried, because my 5s have to make me cry. Like the 5's got to punch me in the face. So I think 4.5 is fair. I would say verging on the edge of 5, maybe a 4.75 for me. Now that I know that I sobbed like a little baby and continued to, because I rated it like as I was finishing it, and then I still thought about it for the rest of the evening, which is a 5 for me. So
I mean, you texted me immediately, so
I did.
When
that's how I was feeling right away.
To share that emotion, it's a good one.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Somewhere between 4.5 and 5, and maybe a 5 on the moment, in the moment when I'm thinking about how much I cried about it. What is that?
In 1 year, I'll pick another book, and we'll have.
You and I still have to read Achilles' Song.
I know.
I'm finishing The Will of the Many, and then I'm hopping into Babel, which is another Thickums. But I would definitely hit you up after that one, and we can get into Achilles. So
I saw you picked up Babel. My wife picked up another one of that woman's books a couple weeks ago. She hadn't read it yet, but I'll let you know. I think
I've heard she's all over TikTok, very popular. The like Poppy War trilogy and whatnot. So I haven't read anything by them yet, so we'll see.
Okay. We're going to. I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're good. Please.
This cat's going on and on. Brian, we're going to get into a part of a creepypasta. I know this will, tickle your twine. It's right up your alley. This is a creepypasta called Pen Pal. I don't know.
I know the original Reddit post.
I'm sorry. I just need a timeout here.
Okay.
Tickle your twine?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say not shit, Laura, but I'm glad you did.
Oh my god! How were you just gonna let that slide by?
Laura, I was just let him get through the sentence.
No. Full stop.
Let's stop attacking Chris.
This immediately, I think this creepypasta came out, I'm sorry, in like the early to mid 2000s. But when I first listened to it, after that first chapter, and the little boy's like, I didn't write this note, my twine was tickled. I was like, okay.
I'm not entirely certain I understand what it means to have a twine, what a twine is, and why is it being tickled?
I don't need to know.
It's a okay, you've got me. I'm hooked. Let's keep going. That's what
I agree. Also, same. I'm like, I've been chomping at the bit.
This was my interested twine tickled.
My goodness. He's saying it on purpose for you, Laura. It's just for you.
But
I'm feeling tangled about it.
Tangle your twine? Okay.
You know the thing is that you should be upset because Google says that the twine is a means to score a goal, especially in sports like soccer or hockey.
Makes sense. the net,
Boy
twine. There you
aquarium.
go. Boy aquarium. There you go. Boy aquarium. Brian, you missed the boy aquarium talk, but we'll catch you up to that one. I had a hunch, Brian, knowing you, that you already have consumed this story. Without getting into spoilers for the other two, what did you think of this one as a whole, of Pen Pal?
It. I see. I was already going to spoil it. It is a very good story. It is a very good story. I really enjoy, because I read the original the Reddit post first before I ever heard the version that came out in the podcast later on.
Right.
And there's a couple of versions. I think there's like 2 or 3 different versions of the same story. And I feel like it brings out this subtle uncomfortability in this whole story that I think that's the thing that really gets me every time I hear it. And I'm one of these people that will watch 30 days of horror movies and listen to, I'll read all my Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror and all that type of stuff, and I'll listen to ghost stories online and the whole gamut of stuff that I revisit every year, almost because I think I have to do it now to even live. But this one, and there's like 2 or 3 more stories that I know of that are out there that kind of like sit on the same level to me. But I will let you continue, and that is my thought on it. But I think it's a very story.
Yeah, we went through the first 2 chapters. We covered the first 2. First starts out, young boy wakes up not in his home. Single mom thinks he ran away. He's lost. He's disoriented. Comes back home. The police are there. She's called the cops. She thinks he's ran away. She thinks he ran away because of the note that he left, but turns out he didn't actually leave that note. In chapter 2, we covered let's attach a letter to a balloon and just let it off in whatever town, city we live in, and let anybody at all just pick this shit up and write back to children. That's a thing.
Well, did he get the response yet?
He has got the response. He has got and he and his friend have opened up their lemonade stand, and he got his dollar back saying 4 stamps, and now he has been getting letters in the mail with pictures that he is in them. So we're now on chapter 3.
Okay.
Titled Boxes.
Yes.
And, exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Brian is calibrated.
This one's a little bit.
Well, I didn't where they were at yet. So the interaction where they did the stands has already taken place. Yeah. But something else has yet to happen. So yes. All right, we're good.
We're waiting for the other shoe to fall. This is a little bit of a longer one. We might go halfway through it and then pick up on the next half of it. I know we're already at like 52 minutes. I apologize. I don't know if there are subtitles on this, if you guys were needing that from the last video or not, but we're going to go ahead and play. You want me to pause? We want to discuss? Put a hand up or something, and I'll hit it. But here's chapter 3 of Pen Pal, Boxes.
Be clear if they were guaranteed subtitles.
Can I have my hand up? Oh.
For those of you who have listened to my other stories and asked if there was more and received cryptic answers from me, I want to apologize for being dishonest. I said several times in the comments that nothing really happened after Footsteps, but that wasn't true. The events of the following story weren't locked away in the recesses of my mind. I've always remembered them. It wasn't until I remembered balloons and spoke with my mother about the following events that I realized how intertwined this story was with everything else. But I originally hadn't really planned on sharing this anyway. My desire to withhold this memory was due mostly to the fact that I don't think I showed good judgment in it. I also wanted consent from another person to tell it so as to not misrepresent what transpired. I didn't expect there to be a lot of interest in my other stories, so I never really thought I'd really get pressed for more details, and I would have been happy to keep this to myself for the rest of my life. I haven't been able to reach the other party, but I would feel disingenuous withholding this story from those who wanted more information now that I've spoken with my mother and another connecting line that has been drawn. What follows is as accurate a recollection as I could manage. I apologize for the length. I spent the summer before my first year of elementary school learning how to climb trees. There was one particular pine tree right outside my house that seemed almost designed for me. It had branches that were so low I could easily grab them without a boost, and for the first couple days after I first learned how to pull myself up, I would just sit on the lowest branch, dangling my feet. The tree was outside our back fence and was easily visible from the kitchen window, which was just above the sink. Before too long, my mother and I developed a routine where I would go play on the tree when she washed the dishes because she could easily see me while she did other things. As the summer passed, my abilities grew and, before too long, I was climbing fairly high. As the tree got taller, its branches not only got thinner but more widely spaced. I eventually reached the point where I couldn't really climb any higher, and so the game had to change. I began to concentrate on speed, and in the end, I could reach my highest branch in 25 seconds. I got too confident one afternoon. I tried to step from a branch before I had firmly grasped the next one. I fell about 20 feet and broke my arm really bad in 2 places. My mom was running towards me, yelling, and I remember her sounded like she was underwater. I don't remember what she said, but I do remember being surprised by just how white my bone was. I was going to start kindergarten with a cast and wouldn't even have friends to sign it. My mum must have felt terrible because the day before I started school, she brought home a kitten. He was just a baby and was striped with tan and white. As soon as she put him down, he crawled into an empty case of soda that was sitting on the floor. I named him Boxes. Boxes was only an outside cat when he escaped. My mom had him declawed so he wouldn't destroy the furniture, so as a result, we did our best to keep him inside. Get out every now and then, and we'd find him somewhere in the yard, chasing some kind of lizard. Though we could hardly ever catch one because he had no front claws. He was pretty evasive, but we'd always catch him and carry him back inside. He scrambled to look back over my shoulder. I told my mom that it was because he was planning his strategy for the next
Right.
You said that my book was emotionally devastating, but now we're talking about a cat that's been declawed, and I feel like that's more emotionally devastating.
And his name is Boxes, and the chapter is
Well,
titled
that's a great
Boxes.
cat name. That's a great
That is
cat
pretty good. Well,
So, no judgment there, but
That's-
declawing.
that's the cool thing about cats too. Cats can do one thing and then they get just branded that forever. This dude literally jumped into a soda box. It's like, that's Boxes. That's from now on, Boxes. But no, I can understand the train of thought you're going on. Two, let me say, one, it was really cool. I don't know if you ever had, fallen off of something and then hit the ground and get in that stage. Like, it sounded like my mom was underwater when you got that, like, that whole, like, oh, kind of moment. Like, oh, it's kind of cool.
I've never fallen in my life.
Not
actually.
once.
Not once.
Not once.
Excuse me, of course.
You are part cat then. And
So go buy a
two,
lottery ticket.
right? And two, when he says, "I couldn't believe how white
She's
my
master
bones."
gravity.
Exactly. There's no such thing as vertigo for her. When he says he breaks his bone and his bone, it was surprised how white it was. I don't know if any of you have ever broken a bone that's come out of your skin, but your bones are extremely white. And
I've
two,
also never broken a bone, so
look at you. And
Lottery ticket.
I've broken a bone before. What the crazy thing is, one, I was in awe of how white it was, but two, I touched the inside of my bone because my bone snapped. Let me hear me out. You guys have to know this. Have you ever been handed a drink carrier from McDonald's?
Stop it right now.
That
no, I'm
weird,
intrigued. Go ahead.
that corrugated fucking cardboard,
Corrugated.
corrugated cardboard. The way that feels, that is what the inside of your bone feels like.
First of all, drink carriers are not corrugated cardboard. You need to learn your recycling.
Please.
Bleh.
Anyways, that's called marrow, and people suck it out of bones from other animals.
Yes.
Probably not
Believe
like
that.
the same animal. That's called cannibalism and is frowned
Right.
upon in many countries.
Yes. And I believe she could probably go to jail if it's also human.
I had an old man ask me why I have so many tattoos, and I said it keeps the cannibals away.
So I don't taste good. That's why.
He said, I don't see any cannibals around here. I said,
You're
"That's the
welcome.
problem. You don't until it's too late."
Thank me for my service.
End of story.
Anyways,
McDonald's drink carriers the inside of your bones feel like. Moving on.
I feel like the inside of my bones are jello.
Once inside, we'd give him some tuna fish, and he came to learn what the sound of the can opener might signal. He'd come running whenever he heard it. This conditioning came in handy later because towards the end of our time in the house, Boxes would get out much more often and would run under the house into the crawl space where neither of us wanted to follow because it was cramped and probably crawling with bugs and rodents. Ingeniously, my mum thought to hook the can opener to an extension cord out the back and run it right outside the hole that Boxes had gone through. Eventually, he would emerge with his loud meows, looking excited by the sound, and then horrified at how we could run such a cruel ruse on him. A can opener with no tuna made no sense to Boxes. The last time he escaped to under the house was actually our last day in it. My mum had put the house on the market and we had begun packing our things. Didn't have much, and we stretched the packing out a while, though I had already packed up all my clothes at my mum's request. My mum could tell that I was really sad about moving and wanted the transition to be smooth for me. And I guess she thought that having my clothes in the box would reinforce the idea that we were moving, but things wouldn't change that much. When Boxes got out as we were loading up some things into the van, my mum cursed because she had already packed the can opener and wasn't sure where it was. I pretended to go look for it so I wouldn't have to go under the house, and my mom, probably completely aware of my little scam, moved one of the panels and crawled in. She came out with Boxes pretty quickly and seemed pretty unnerved, which made me feel even better about getting out of it. My mum made some phone calls while I packed a little more, and then she came into my room and told me that she had spoken to the realtor and we were going to start moving into the other house that day. She said it like it was excellent news, but I thought we had more time in the house. She originally said that we weren't moving until the end of next week and it was only Tuesday. What's more, we weren't completely finished packing, but my mum said sometimes it was just easier to replace things than pack them and haul them all over the city. I didn't even get to grab the rest of my boxed clothes. I asked if I could call Josh to say goodbye, but she said that we could just call him from our new house. We left in the moving van. I managed to stay in touch with Josh for years, which is surprising since we no longer went to the same school. Our parents weren't close friends, but they knew that we were, and so they would accommodate our desire to see one another by driving us back and forth for sleepovers sometimes every weekend. For Christmas one year, our parents even pooled their money and got us some really nice walkie-talkies that were advertised to work across a range that extended past the distance between our houses. They also had batteries that could last for days if the walkie-talkie was on but not used. They would only occasionally work well enough that we could talk across the city, but when we stayed over, we'd use them around the house, talking in mock radio speak that we had taken from movies, and they worked great for that. Thanks to our parents, we were still friends when we were 10. One weekend, I was staying over at Josh's and my mom called me to say goodnight. She was still pretty watchful, even when she couldn't actually watch me. But I had gotten used to it that I didn't even notice it, even if Josh did. She sounded upset. Boxes was missing. This must have been a Saturday night because I'd spent the night at Josh's the previous night and was going to go home the next day because we had school on Monday. Boxes had been missing since Friday afternoon. I gathered that she had not seen him since returning home after dropping me off. She must have decided to tell me he was missing because if he didn't come home before I did, then I would be devastated at not only his absence, but how she could have kept this from me. She told me not to worry. He'll come back, he always does. But Boxes didn't come back. 3 weekends later, I stayed at Josh's again. I was still upset about Boxes, but my mom told me that there had been many times when pets had disappeared from homes for weeks or even months, only to return on their own.
Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound. Okay, go ahead. What's up, Laura?
I'm just thinking about the first clip when he disappeared, and I'm still on the multi-dimension theory here.
Still
And
going with
Boxes is just sidebarring right now because Boxes ain't dead. He ain't been recycled yet.
Okay. We're still holding out hope for Boxes, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's not corrugated.
Corrugated. I still think it's real life. I'm still not getting paranormal. But the part of that clip that stuck with me is mom was in a hurry. Mom was scared. She was trying to leave. Like, you're telling me you got a moving truck, but you left without all your stuff when you were supposed to leave 5 days? Like, I'm getting mom is spooked. They had to leave the house. I'm still not getting paranormal. That's where I'm at.
Well, I would assume that Kiara, the mother, would, when she unveils an envelope of 50 Polaroids with their child in them. You might leave some clothes. Hey, it's summer. Leave your winter clothes. Get in the truck.
Yeah, absolutely. But but for her to be like, we're gonna move next weekend, and then something moved that timeline up. That's where I'm at. Like, did something move the timeline up? Like, you were moving because you were scared, and then now you're moving faster. What happened?
Right. Okay. We continue on.
Woo.
She said they always knew where home was and would always try to get back. I was explaining this to Josh when a thought hit me so hard that I interrupted my own sentence to say it out loud. What if Boxes thought of the wrong home? Josh was confused. What? He lives with you. He knows where his home is. But he grew up somewhere else, Josh. He was raised in my old home, a couple neighborhoods away. Maybe he still thinks of that place as home, like I do. Oh, I get it. Well, That'd be great. We'll tell my dad tomorrow and he'll take us over there so we can look. No, he won't, man. My mom said that we couldn't ever go back to that place because the new owners wouldn't want to be bothered. She said that she told your mom and dad the same thing. Josh persisted. Okay then, we'll just go out exploring tomorrow and make our way to your old house. No, if we get spotted, your dad will find out and then so will my mom. We'll have to go there ourselves. We'll have to go there tonight. It didn't take that much convincing to get Josh on board since he was usually the one to come up with ideas like this. But we had never snuck out of this house before. It actually turned out to be incredibly easy. The window in his room opened to the backyard and he had a latched wooden fence that wasn't locked. Even after those 2 minor hurdles, we slipped off into the night, flashlights and walkie-talkies in hand. There were 2 ways to get from Josh's house to my old house. We could walk on the street and make all the turns or go through the woods, which would take about half the time. It would have taken about 2 hours to walk there taking the streets, but I suggested that we go that way anyway. I told him it was because I didn't want to get lost. Josh refused and said that if we were seen they might recognize him and tell his dad. He threatened to go home if we didn't just take the shortcut, and I accepted it, because I didn't want to go by myself. Josh didn't know about the last time I walked through these woods at night. The woods were pretty much less creepy with a friend and a flashlight, and we were making pretty good time. I wasn't entirely sure where we were, but Josh seemed confident enough, and that bolstered my morale. We passed through a particularly thick patch of tangled trees when the strap of my walkie-talkie got caught on a branch. Josh had the flashlight, and so I was struggling to get my walkie-talkie free when I heard Josh say, "Hey man, wanna go for a swim?" I looked over to where he was shining the flashlight, though I closed my eyes as I did, because I now knew where we were. He was pointing at the pool float. This was where I'd woken up in these woods all those years ago. I felt a lump in my throat and the sting of fresh tears in my eyes as I continued to struggle with the walkie. Frustrated, I yanked on it hard enough to break it free, and I turned and walked to Josh, who had partially laid down on the pool float in a mock sunbathing pose. As I walked toward him, I stumbled and nearly fell into a fairly large hole that was sitting in the middle of this small clearing, but I regained my balance and stopped right at its edge. It was deep. I was surprised by the size of the hole, but more surprised by the fact that I didn't remember it. I realized it must not have been there that night because it was in the same spot where I had awoken. I put it out my mind and turned to Josh. "Quit messing around, man. You saw I was stuck over there. You were just lying here joking around on this float?" I punctuated the sentence with a kick to the exposed part of the float. A screeching rose from it. Josh's smile inverted. He suddenly looked terrified and was struggling to get off the float, but he couldn't in a quick manner due to the awkward way he had been laying on it. Each time he would fall back on the float, the screeching would intensify. I wanted to help Josh, but I couldn't move myself any closer. My legs wouldn't cooperate. I hated these woods. I picked up the flashlight that he had thrown in his thrashing and shined it in on the float, not knowing what to expect. Finally, Josh got off the float and rushed next to me, looking at where I was shining the light. Suddenly, there it was. It was a rat. I started laughing nervously, and we both watched the rat run into the woods, taking the screeches with it. Josh lightly punched me in the arm, the smile slowly returning to his face, and we continued walking. We quickened our pace and made it out of the woods faster than we thought we would, and we found ourselves back in my old neighborhood. The last time I had rounded the bend ahead, I had seen my house fully illuminated, and all the memories of what transpired came flooding back. I felt a skipping in my heart as we were finally turning the corner and about to face the full view of my house, remembering the last time how incandescent it was. But this time, all the lights were off. From a distance, I could see my old climbing tree, and as my mind traced the steps of casuality backward, I realized that I wouldn't be back here this night if that tree hadn't grown. And I was briefly in awe of how all events were like that. As we got closer, I could see that the lawn looked terrible. I couldn't even guess when it had last been mowed. One of the shutters had partially broke loose and was rocking back and forth in the breeze. And overall, the house just looked dirty. I was sad to see my old home in such a state of disrepair. Why would my mum care if we bothered the new owners if they cared so little about where they lived? And then I realized there were no new owners. The house was abandoned, though it looked simply forsaken. Why would my mum lie to me about our house having new people in it? But I thought that this was actually a good thing. It would be easier to look around for boxes if we didn't have to worry about being spotted by the new family. This would make it much quicker. Josh interrupted my thoughts as we walked through the gate and up to the house itself. "Your old house sucks, dude," Josh yelled as quietly as he could. "Shut up, Josh. Even like this, it's still nicer than your house." "Hey, man. Okay. I think boxes is probably under the house. One of us has to go under and look, but the other should stay next to the opening in case he comes running out." "Are you serious? There's no way I'm going under there. It's your cat, man. You do it." "Look, I'll game you for it, unless you're too scared," I said, holding my fist over my upturned palm. "Fine, but we go on shoot, not on 3. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot, not 1, 2, 3. I know how to play the game, Josh. You're the one always messing up, and it's 2 out of 3. I lost. I wiggled loose the panel that my mom would always move when she had to crawl under here for boxes. She only had to do it a couple of times since the can opener trick usually worked, but when she had to do it, she hated it, especially that last time. And as I look into the darkness of the crawl space, I had a greater appreciation for why. Before we moved, she said that it was actually better that boxes ran under there, despite how hard it could be to get him out. It was less dangerous than him jumping over the fence and running around the neighborhood. All that was true, but I was still dreading doing this. I grabbed the flashlight and the walkie-talkie and began to crawl in. A powerful smell overtook me. It smelled like death. I turned on my walkie. "Josh, are you there?"
"This is Macho Man, come back."
"Josh, cut it out. There's something wrong down here."
"What do you mean?"
"It stinks. It smells like something died."
"Is it boxes?"
"I really hope not." I set down the walkie-talkie and moved the flashlight around as I crawled forward. Looking through the hole from outside, you could see all the way back with the right lighting, but you had to be inside to see around the support blocks that held up the house. I'd say that there was about 40% of the area that you couldn't see unless you were actually in the crawl space. But even inside, I discovered that I could only see directly where the flashlight was pointing. I realized that this would make scouting around the place much more difficult. As I moved forward, the smell intensified. The fear was growing in me that Boxes had come here and something had happened to him. I shined the flashlight around but couldn't see much of anything.
we does the main character boy have both parents?
No, just mom.
Okay.
So you're picking up on, some of the, obviously you're gonna not tell the brutal truth to your young child, but you can also now put together like this young single mom tiredness. Like, all right, what is it? Yeah, okay, just get the someone sent you a picture. That's nice. Okay, go to bed. I work a
Yeah.
job. Okay.
But also, is dad dead under the house because he was a threat to them?
Oh, I like that though. Look at
I
you.
just assume that the cat and the boy are dead.
And the boy?
You're saying he's Ghost Boy looking for the ghost cat?
I don't know. There's layers to this, man.
I agree. There are layers. I'm
Like the
still going with
orange
not
and
supernatural, and I'm going with dead man under the house. Mom killed him. Okay, sorry.
He
I did
deserves it.
interrupt, but I needed that
Women
answer.
don't just kill for no reason.
No, because he was a threat for sure. I'm going single mom. Dad came back into the life, was stalking them, found them. She killed him, hid him under the house, moved.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thing. I wrapped my fingers around the support block to pull myself forward, and as I did that, I felt something that made my hand recoil. Fur. My heart sank, and I prepared myself emotionally for what I was about to see. I crawled slowly so I could prolong what I knew was coming, and I inched my eyes and flashlight past the block to see what was on the other side. I staggered back in horror. Jesus Christ! Escaped my trembling mouth. It was a hideous and twisted creature, badly decomposed. Its skin had rotted away on its face, so the teeth appeared to be enormous, and the smell was unbearable.
What is it? Are you okay? Is it boxes?
I reached for the walkie. No, it's not boxes.
What the hell is it then?
I don't know. I shined the light on it and looked at it with less fear in my vision. I chuckled. It's a raccoon.
Well, keep looking. I'm going on inside the house to see if he might have made his way in there somehow.
What? No, Josh, don't go in there. What if Boxes is down here and he runs out?
He can't. I put the board back up.
I looked back and saw that he was telling the truth. Why'd you do that?
Don't worry, man. You can move it easy. This makes more sense. If Boxes ran out and I missed him, he'd be gone. If he's down there, then grab him tight and I'll come move the board. And if he's not there, then you can move it yourself while I look in the house.
Some of his points were good, and I doubted that he'd be able to get in anyway. Okay, but be careful and don't touch anything. There's a bunch of my old clothes still in boxes in my room. You can look in there to see if he crawled in one. And make sure to bring your walkie.
Roger that, good buddy.
I realised that it would be pitch black in there. The power would have been turned off since no one was paying the bill. With any luck, he'd be able to see from the streetlights that might cast some light inside. Otherwise, I'm not sure what he'd do. Before too long, I heard footsteps right over my head and felt old dirt raining down on me. Josh, is that you?
Breaker, breaker, this is Macho Man coming back for the big Tango Foxtrot. The Eagle has landed. What's your 20, Princess Jasmine? Over.
Asshole.
Macho Man, my 20 is in your bathroom looking at your stash of magazines. Looks like you've got a thing for dudes' butts. What's the report on that? Over.
I could hear him laughing without the walkie, and I started laughing too. I heard the footsteps fade away a little. He was on his way to my room.
Man, it's dark in here. Hey, are you sure you had boxes of clothes in here? I don't see any.
Yeah, there should be a couple boxes in front of the closet.
There aren't any boxes boxes in here. Let me check to see if you maybe put the boxes in the closet before you left.
I started thinking that maybe my mama had come back and gotten the clothes and just given them away because I had outgrown a lot of them. But I remembered leaving the boxes there. I didn't even have time to close the last one before we left. While I was waiting for Josh to tell me what he found, I kicked out my leg, which had started falling asleep because of the position I was in, and I hit something. I looked back and saw something really strange. It was a blanket, and all around it there were balls. I crawled a little closer to it. The blanket smelled mouldy, and most of the balls were empty, but one had something that I recognized still in it. Cat food. It was a different kind than we gave to boxes, but I suddenly understood. My mum had set up a little place for boxes to encourage him to come here instead of running around the neighborhood. That made a lot of sense, and it seemed even more likely that boxes would have come back to this place. That's so cool, Mom, I thought.
I found your clothes.
How cool, where were the boxes?
Like I said, there are no boxes. Your clothes are in your closet. They're hanging up.
I felt a chill. This was impossible. I had packed all my clothes, even though we weren't supposed to move for another 2 weeks when we left. I remember packing them and thinking that it was stupid for me to have to get clothes out the box and then put them back in. I'd packed them, but someone had hung them back up. Why though? Josh needed to get out of there. That can't be right, Josh. They're supposed to be in boxes. Stop messing around and just come back outside.
No joke, man. I'm looking at them. Maybe you just thought that you left them. Wow, you sure like to look at yourself, don't you?
What do you mean?
Your walls, man. Your walls are covered in Polaroids of yourself. There are hundreds of them. What did you do? Hire someone to...
Silence. I checked my walkie to see if I had switched it off somehow. It was fine. I could hear footsteps, but couldn't tell exactly where Josh was going. I waited for Josh to finish his sentence, thinking that his finger had just slipped off the button, but he didn't continue. He seemed to be stomping around the house now. I was just about to radio him when he came back.
There's someone in the house.
His voice was hushed and broken. I could hear he was on the verge of tears. I wanted to respond, but how loud was his walkie turned up? What if the other person had heard it? I said nothing and just waited and listened. What I heard were footsteps. Heavy, dragging footsteps. And then, a loud thud. Oh God, Josh? He had been found. I was sure of it. This person had found him and was hurting him. I broke out in tears. He was my only friend, next to boxes. And then I realized, what if Josh told him I was under here? What could I possibly do? As I struggled to compose myself, I thankfully heard Josh's voice through the walkie.
He's got something, man. It's a big bag. He just threw it on the floor and... Oh God. The bag. I think it just moved.
I was paralyzed. I wanted to run home. I wanted to save Josh. I wanted to go for help. I wanted so many things, but I just lay there, frozen. As I lay, unable to move, my eyes focused on the corner of the house that was right under my room. I moved my flashlight. My breath hitched at what I saw. Animals. Dozens of them. All of them dead. They lay in piles all around the perimeter of the crawl space. Could boxes be among these corpses? Was this what the cat food was for? Seeing this broke my shock as I knew I had to get out of there, and I scrambled to the board. I pushed on it, but it wouldn't budge. I couldn't move it because it was wedged in there and I couldn't get my fingers around it since the edges were outside. I was trapped. God damn you, Josh, I whispered to myself. I could feel thunderous footsteps above me. The house was shaking. I heard Josh scream, and it was matched by another scream that wasn't full of fear. As I continued pushing, I felt the board move, but I knew it wasn't me who was moving it. I could hear footsteps above me and in front of me, and shouting and screaming filling the brief silences between the footsteps. I moved back and held my walkie, ready to try defend myself, and the board was thrown to the side, and an arm shot in and grabbed for me. "Let's go, man, now!" It was Josh. Thank God. I scrambled out of the opening, holding the flashlight and the walkie. When we got to the fence, we both jumped it, but Josh's walkie fell. He reached for it, and I told him to forget it. We had to move. Behind us, I could hear yelling, though they weren't words, only sounds. And we perhaps foolishly ran for the woods to get back to Josh's quicker and be somewhat harder to follow. The whole way through the woods, Josh kept yelling, "My picture! He took my picture!" But I knew the man already had Josh's picture from all those years ago at the ditch. I suppose Josh still thought those mechanical sounds were from a robot. We made it back to Josh's house and back into his room before his parents woke up. I asked him about the big bag and if it really moved, and he said he couldn't be sure. He kept apologizing about dropping the walkie at the house, but obviously that wasn't a big deal. We didn't go to sleep and sat peering out the window, waiting for him. I went home later that day as it was around 3 a.m. already. I told my mom the basics of this story a couple of days ago. She broke down and was furious about the danger I put myself in. I asked her why she made all those things up about bothering the new owners to stop me from going. Why did she think the house was so dangerous? She became irate and hysterical, but she answered my question. She grabbed my hand and squeezed it harder than I thought her capable of and locked her eyes to mine, whispering as if she was afraid of being overheard. "Because I never put any damn blankets or bowls under the house for boxes. You weren't the only one to find them." I felt dizzy. I understood so much now. I understood why she had looked so uneasy after she brought boxes out from under the house on our last day there. She found more than spiders or a rat's nest that day. I understood why we left almost 2 weeks early. I understood why she tried to stop me from going back. She knew he made his home under ours, and she kept it from me. I left without saying another word and didn't finish the story for her, but I wanted to finish it here for you. I got home from Josh's that day and threw my stuff on the floor, and it scattered everywhere. I didn't care, I just wanted to sleep. I woke up around 9 p.m. to the sound of boxes meowing. My heart leapt. He had finally come home. I was a little sick about the fact that if I had just waited a day, none of the previous night's events would have happened, and I'd have boxes anyway. But that didn't matter. He was back. He was back. I got off my bed and called for him, looking around to catch a glint of light off his eyes. The crying continued and I followed it. It was coming from under the bed. I laughed a little, thinking I had just crawled under a house looking for him and how this was so much better. His meows were being muffled by a shirt, so I flung it aside and smiled, yelling, "Welcome home, Boxes!" His cries were coming from my walkie-talkie. Boxes never came home.
And that's
I'm
part 3,
disgusted.
Box. Oh, stop it.
That was
Stop
rough.
You suggested the Traveling Cat Chronicles. Like, that's a little too much.
I'm sorry. Squishy dead things under the house. Also, speaking of dead things, that was my dad that popped in and talking about a true story. He's like,
Oh,
dead things under the house. Here's a relative.
Let's think about this. So obviously we know my mom picked up and moved early. Does mom not call the cops there?
Like, that's my. Mm.
That was my one pick of the story.
I mean,
Mom
it
doesn't call the
threw
cops
a
there?
wrench in all of my like ideas and thoughts,
She's called the cops 2 times already now.
but not for that.
Yeah.
But did they listen? Because I mean,
You can't
is
call
she crying
Humane
wolf at this
Society.
point, or at the same time, is she lost faith in them and their ability to do anything for her?
Well, hit up your
Good point.
local dog shelter and be like, hey, somebody drug a bunch of dead animals under my house. They'll look into it, okay?
Okay. So now, are we still thinking supernatural, Laura? Okay.
No, just thinking gross and weird.
Gross and weird. Okay. We know when the boys were playing in the dirt pit, we know what those robot noises were that they were hearing.
Yeah. It's just worse when it's a man.
Oh yeah. Men are the worst. Can test.
I would take ghosts any day.
Okay. All right. Closing thoughts on chapter 3 of Boxes.
We can close our thoughts. It's not going to stop my brain.
I don't know. What is the friend knows something more? There's no way.
You think Josh knows something he's not saying?
I do.
Okay.
I almost raised my hand in the middle of it. I was like, nah, something's up with this guy. I don't know. I don't know if he's full blown in on it, but he knows something he ain't saying.
My favorite part so far has been your guys' comments and then watching Brian smile at the bottom there because Brian knows what happens in the story.
And I'm trying so hard not to come off on mute and be like, but and I had the same question Kiara and Laura had, is about not calling the cops, or like she's only called the cops 2 times. But when I thought about when I read the story, my take on it was the fact that these are interactions between a parent and a child, right? And she's in parent protective mode, so she necessarily is not telling him how many times she is contacted law enforcement or
Right.
other things, right? So he is left to believe that my mom's not doing anything, right?
I can see that.
Or what if she's afraid that her kid is the one killing the animals? She's like, shit, I'm raising a serial killer. We got to get out of here. Like, there's a bunch of dead animals under my house. Probably my psychopathic child. He did go missing in the middle of the night.
But the bowls and the blankets. Like, I think mom knows there's a person. Why? Has anyone seen the movie I See You? Probably in this crowd of people.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's giving frogging, but under the house.
I will say this: if you think about it in chronological order, boy, mom sees my son, leaves a "I'm leaving" note, and he leaves, comes back, calls the cops. Okay, my son's going through some shit. Now all of a sudden, my son's starting to trickle in with pictures of himself. He's always with his friend Josh. Is this some other weird kind of elaborate route? Is my child disturbed in a sense? And then third time, get your shit, let's go. I feel like that shakes that kind of maybe is my kid slaughtering these animals? Am I raising a serial killer? Or is it like, hey, my kid isn't pulling some kind of weird elaborate ruse or seek of attention kind of thing. It's something else.
Either way, it's fine.
Well, that was part 3 of Pen Pal titled Boxes. Next time we convene, we will get into part 4. I am here to tell you that I believe that there are 6 parts, so we had just hit the halfway point. It only gets better.
Already
in
on
my
the edge of
opinion.
my seat.
Only gets better in my opinion. The ending will fucking sting and pierce through your heart. I hope you guys enjoy it. As always, I enjoy talking to you guys every chance we get on Sundays. Guys, plans for the weekend? I got to be in the gym in 4 minutes, but what do you guys plan for the weekend?
The weekend's over,
It's
bro.
the gym at your house?
That's true. No, I'm on post. It's just up the
Oh,
street.
okay.
No, I took tomorrow off. I'm about to leave the country next week, so I took a 4-day this weekend.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Where are we
just
going?
gonna grill a bunch of veggies.
Ooh, that sounds fun. I don't think that no one's fucking watching this. I'm going to the Philippines, man.
Oh, okay.
Should I say this on here? It doesn't matter. No one's gonna watch this shit.
You'll be fine.
Oh yeah. But
Hey, my
we
dad's
will-
watching.
fucking A. And I appreciate it,
Hello, his
Dom.
dad.
We will be back in hopefully 2 weeks. Whoever wants to come on, if Valerie's back, love it. If not, we'll make sure Valerie catches up on the story. And this has been Plot Points. Ladies, Brian, I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your weekend. Don't let the Sunday scaries get you. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
I
Bye,
know.
guys.